Colonial rule in the Indian subcontinent led to a decline in the importance of several medieval towns and cities for different reasons. It also resulted in the establishment of various new urban centers. So, kids, in this History Chapter 6, Colonialism and the City, we shall discuss how the new cities were different from the older ones, how they were governed and administered, and what changes did Delhi, a thriving city during the time of Shah Jahan, undergo in the colonial period. Before the British arrived in India, there were different types of cities in India. Some were temple towns like Madurai, port cities like Surat, and manufacturing towns like Dhaka. In most part of western world, modern cities emerged with industrialization. In Britain, industrial cities like Leeds and Manchester grew rapidly in the 19th and 20th century. As more and more people sought jobs, housing, and other facilities in these places. But during colonial period, some cities were into deurbanization in India. In late 18th century, Calcutta, Madras, Bombay were in importance as presidency cities or centers of British power. But at the same time, many small towns and cities were disappearing due to the decrease in the demand of what they produced. Some cities lost their commercial value, like Surat, Seringpatnam, and even Delhi. The historical Mughal imperial city of Delhi also became a dusty provincial town in the 19th century before it was rebuilt as the capital of British India. The colonial rule brought about many changes in the pattern of governance and physical development of towns and cities. This was stimulated by the coming in of technology and improvement of infrastructure. Many roads were constructed, railway lines laid, which made commuting easier. Although the primary aim of the British was to be able to move goods from various parts of India to the ports and on to United Kingdom by ships, but such developments also brought about changes in the lifestyle and social order. The changes over decades of colonial rule can be summarized under various heads as postal system, railways, hill stations, police, and law enforcement. The colonial powers, especially the British, identified and developed ports which were convenient centers for loading and unloading the cargo from ships. These ports became their first and foremost hubs of trading activities with warehouse, marketing places as well as residential areas for their agents. For security reasons, they created walls or fortresses around them and maintained small armies. All these thus developed into townships. The major ports converted by them into their townships were Calcutta, Madras, Bombay. Similarly, the French developed Pondicherry as a port town. Calcutta had been the most important seat of colonial administration during the British rule in India. In 1698, the EAIC acquired the zamindari of three villages Gobindpur, Satanati, and Kalikata. Soon a factory was established there and the whole area was fortified. It was called Fort William. It was a regional base for the British Army to fight against its European rivals like the Dutch and the French. Later, as a presidency city, it became the headquarters of the Bengal Presidency. With the defeat of the Nawab of Bengal in the Battle of Plassey in 1757 and the Battle of Buxar in 1764, The British became very powerful in Bengal. The importance of Calcutta increased greatly. From 1850s onward, there was rapid industrial growth in the city, particularly in the textile and jute. It resulted in the laying of railway and telegraph lines by the British government. Increase in revolutionary activities and the location of Calcutta, which no longer remained advantageous from the administrative point of view, forced the British to shift the capital to New Delhi in 1911. The city of Madras, now Chennai. The British landed at Masulipatam in 1611. 2 years later, because of opposition from the Dutch, the British shifted their center of activity to Madras. Madras became an advantageous place for trade with the Indonesian islands, known for its spices. It was raised to the rank of presidencies in 1658, and all factories in Bengal and the Coromandel coast were placed under it. Due to the success of the English in the Carnatic Wars in the 18th century, Madras gained much importance and prospered. The buildings inside the Fort St. George have been in use as a state legislative assembly for last many years. They also constructed many other buildings and structures like the Sandholm Cathedral Basilica, the Madras High Court, and the railway station, which are even today prominent landmarks of Chennai with their distinct architecture. Bombay, now Mumbai, is the capital of Maharashtra. It was one of the earliest trading centers of the EEIC. It consists of seven islands, namely Bombay Island, Parel, Mazgaon, Mahim, Kolaba, Varli, and Old Women's Land or Little Kolaba. The city was earlier held by the Portuguese. In 1661, Prince Charles II of England married Catherine of Braganza, the daughter of King George IV of Portugal. After this marriage, the islands of Bombay were handed over to the British monarch as part of Catherine's dowry to Charles. By the Royal Charter of the 1668, the EEIC got Bombay on lease for sum of £10 per annum. Since the Marathas were a great threat to the British at Surat, the British established another center at Bombay. Bombay soon became the headquarters of the EEIC on the west coast. The British declared Bombay a presidency and appointed governors. On April 16, 1853, India's first passenger railway line was laid between Bombay to Thane. In 1869, with the opening of the Suez Canal, Bombay became one of the largest seaports on the Arabian Sea. Its strategic location on the seashore soon helped it to become a naval base of the EEIC. One of the developmental work of the British was the introduction of the postal system. The postal service was first opened to the public in 1774 by the then Governor General Warren Hastings. Although some form of postal system existed since 1764, but that was mainly for the mails between different functionaries of the East India Company. In the initial stages, the postage charges were based on weight of the package and the distance it was to be sent. Later, this was changed as postage was thereafter based only on the weight. Postage stamp was initiated in 1852 and in 1853 first telegraph line between Calcutta and Agra became operational. A uniform system across India began in 1854 by Dalhousie under New Post Office Act. One of the major developments which came about was the introduction of railway network in India. British brought in the technology from the United Kingdom and constructed railway lines, railway stations, and also brought in railway engines and coaches. The planning had begun as early as 1832, and the first railway operated in 1853 from Boribandar in Bombay to Thane, 30 km away. Although the British wanted to develop railway network to help in speedy movement of goods to the ports for onward shipping to England and other countries, it was initially used for the movement of workers to the increasing number of mills coming up in the Bombay region. After further expansion, this network was also extensively used to carry their forces to distant places. The British had developed many hill stations like Shimla, Mussoorie, Shillong, Darjeeling, Ooty. They ventured to these places in search of cooler climate as they hailed from much colder regions of Great Britain. They made Shimla as their summer capital. They began plantation activities, which in turn led to the development of roads and communications to these remote areas which were earlier devoid of development. The growth of the cities came along with the governing and administrating bodies like municipalities, town areas, committees, port trust, cantonment boards, public work departments, and such agencies were brought about to develop water supply and drainage system and provide public amenities like street lights and playground etc. The British colonial rulers also brought about legislation for governance of the population living in the areas under their control. They drew up the Indian Penal Code in 1860, which laid down the rules and regulations regarding crime and punishments to be enforced in the entire country. This was to bring uniformity in the judicial system, which had been different for different rulers and princely states. They brought in the strong police force as they desired to retain control and dominance over the Indian masses and to facilitate the implementation of their exploitative policies. Now, let's take the story of Delhi to New Delhi. Delhi, capital of modern India, and it has been the capital for more than 1000 years, but with some gaps. As many as 14 capital cities were made in the small area of about 60 square miles on the left bank of river Yamuna. The most splendid was Shahjahanabad made by Shahjahan. Shahjahanabad, the most beautiful and historic capital made by Shahjahan. History places of Delhi like Red Fort, Jama Masjid, Chandni Chowk were made during that time with packed mohallas, bazaars, dargahs and eidgahs were other features of this city. But the city could not be the ideal one. Luxuries and delights were enjoyed only by riches. If in one side of the city huge mansions were there, on the other corner was crowded by mud houses of the poor. Even gender differences also existed. For example, the colorful world of poetry and dance was usually enjoyed by men. In 1803, British got control of Delhi but continued with Calcutta as the capital as the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar was living there. The modern city as we know it today developed only after 1911 in Delhi as it became the capital of British India. Unlike the other colonial cities like Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta, where the British lived in separate areas from the Indians, in Delhi they lived with Indian communities. Then the period of Delhi Renaissance started with the establishment of Delhi College in 1792, led by a great intellectual development in the field of science and humanities, largely in Urdu language. Period from 1830 to 1857 is referred to as the period of Delhi Renaissance. During the revolt that the year rebels entered the city and persuaded Bahadur Shah to become the leader of uprising, Delhi became an important center for 1857 revolt. Bahadur Shah Zafar was sent to Burma, his courts were dismantled, gardens were closed, and common people were thrown out of the city. One third of the city was demolished and canals were filled up. Prayers did not happen in Jama Masjid for next 5 years. To destroy the symbolic image of Delhi, British organized spectacular events in Delhi. Viceroy Lytton organized a darbar to acknowledge Queen Victoria as the Empress of India. In 1911, decision was taken to make Delhi capital of British India. Two architects, Edward Lutyens and Herbert Baker, were called on to design New Delhi and its buildings. Inside the old city of Delhi, there is excellent system of water supply broken down and the drainage was neglected in 19th century. The system of wells or baulis also broke down and channels to remove household waste called effluents were damaged. This was the time when pollution accelerated in the city. As the broken down channels could not serve the needs of the rapidly increasing population, finally, at the end of 19th century, Shahjani drains were closed and a new system of open drains were introduced. Havelis began to be subdivided and sold because Mughal amirs were unable to maintain these large establishments under conditions of the British rule. Hence, Havelis were subdivided and sold. Many fell into the decay and disuse. The colonial bungalows were meant for one nuclear family. It was a large single storied structure with pitched roof. During British period, municipality was also introduced. Census of 1931 revealed the shocking facts that the walled city area was horribly crowded. In the walled area, density of population was 90 people per acre, while in New Delhi it was hardly 3 persons per acre. To improve the living conditions, Lahore Gate scheme was planned by Herbert Baker. The idea was to draw residents away from the old city to a new type of market square, but construction remained incomplete and it did not help the city to discongest. Drainage was also poor till 1931. Delhi Improvement Trust was set up in 1936 and it built areas like Daryaganj South for wealthy Indians. Houses were grouped around parks where privacy of each and every family members were taken care. Hence, we can say Delhi is unique in Indian history and fall. Today, it is the national capital territory of India. So, kids, I hope you enjoyed knowing about the new cities and administration system by the Britishers. Thank you.